World Cup, and a new report published by Policy Exchange on the eve of the tournament raises serious questions about what sort of relationship the UK should have with Qatar and whether Brits should be supporting the tournament.
It's been written by Sir John Jenkins, who served as UK ambassador to Syria, Iraq, Libya and Saudi Arabia, and we're delighted to say that he joins us now. So, John, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, we've been discussing about, you know, the Qatar, and like any country, it acts in its own national interest. It has its own cultures that we presumably should be respecting. What's the difficulty with having a relationship with a country which, as far as I can see, most of the people in the royal family were British educated? They're sort of friendly towards the UK. Should we not be embracing them rather than trying to turn them away from us?
Well, we should clearly respect other cultures. I spent a 35-year career in the Foreign Office doing exactly that. And it's interesting, your previous interview, when you talked about the impact of the various controversies about this World Cup on the World Cup itself. I think Chris Gunn was absolutely right. I think when the football starts, people will concentrate on that. But I think once it's finished, I think the questions that arise from the World Cup, the way it was obtained, and the nature of Qatar itself, and the way the Qatar itself pursues its policies, not just inside Qatar or inside the Gulf, but more widely in the Middle East and indeed in Europe and the United States, will become live again. And I think they should. You know, I think the issue of corruption in football and the various allegations and the various bans and prosecutions and so forth that arose out of the bidding process in 2010 is an issue for FIFA. And I think FIFA has a lot of serious questions to answer, which Gianni Infantino, in his rant this morning, simply didn't address. But the issue of Qatar, why we should have a relationship with Qatar, which I think is what you
yes.
You know, this was crystallised for me, first of all, in 2011 when I was in Libya. And we were supposed to be all on the same side. We were supposed to be helping to protect the Libyan people. In the end, when Gaddafi went to build a new system in Libya, which was a democratic system, and so forth. I mean, that could have been incredibly naive. We were working with the French, with the Americans, with the Emiratis, and supposedly with the Qataris. But actually, what the Qataris were doing was entirely at odds with what we and our partners, including the Emirates, wanted to do in Libya. They were funding Islamist militias. They were funding Islamist militias in Benghazi and in Tripoli, and they were doing it with the help of a bunch of Libyan Islamists who had been resident in Qatar for many, many years. And they did it without consultation at all. And it's actually, for me, it's one of the reasons why Libya went to the bad after 2011. There were lots of other reasons for it as well, but that was one of the reasons. And every time we asked them what they were doing, they said, we support democracy. We support the right of the people to choose. Well, fine, OK, but in that case, why do people choose in Qatar?
I mean, you obviously know this much better, and I was trying to catch up and read a lot about it, but it seems Qatar has got a very tricky path to walk. I mean, I was even looking at it's only 300,000 citizens, a relatively new country, still got tribes, still got a family at the top, 2 other million guest workers as they have come in. And they've got to really walk a steady path between becoming westernised, becoming modernised, and who are their neighbours, what is their religion and what is their culture. So in a quick answer, is this, so there's a lot of criticism at FIFA, could this help them on that journey? So we can't be too critical. We've got to be friends here, bringing them on a journey because they are in a very, very difficult position themselves. Just a quick answer, if you can.
We're friends with Libya. We're friends with Libya because with Qatar because of natural gas, basically. And I don't think. Do I think the World Cup is going to help with you know, whatever it is we're talking about, liberalisation and so forth? No. I mean, I think they are. I think they do have a very tricky path to tread. They're extremely vulnerable. So are the Emirates. So is Bahrain, and they choose different ways. And I think just a quick one. I mean, one of the issues we raised in our report is the issue of Qatari funding to Islamist groups and institutions in this country and in Europe, in Germany, France, and the United States, for that matter. A lot of this is unaccountable. A lot of it is untransparent. And that makes me very nervous, given the history of Qatar's involvement in the wider Middle East.
Sir John Jenkins, thank you very much indeed for bringing your expertise to the show this morning. Thank you. And I think